July 30th, 1964. The air in the Oval Office was thick with the scent of expensive tobacco and a desperation that only men in power can truly understand. While the American public was being fed a carefully curated diet of news about the Civil Rights Act and the upcoming election, a different kind of history was being written in blood across the mountains of Laos. I am 99 years old, and for half a century my job was to make sure you never heard the names of the men who died that day. I worked in a windowless room in Virginia, a place where truth goes to die and lies are polished until they shine like gold. I've seen the declassified logs of the Ravens, pilots who flew with no markings on their planes and no flags on their shoulders. I've read the final words of boys who were told that if they were captured, their own country would deny they ever existed. You look at your history books and you see a neat timeline of the Vietnam War, but the most important war of that decade, the secret war, has been deleted from your collective memory. There were 50,000 men who fought in shadows, whose sacrifices were redacted by a bureaucrat's black pen. If you're under 50 and you think your life is difficult because your Wi-Fi is slow or your boss is mean, I want you to lean in and listen to the screams that were silenced 80 years ago. I am the last gatekeeper of a war that officially never existed, and I am breaking my silence because the ghosts are tired of being ignored. In 1964, the United States signed a treaty in Geneva promising to stay out of Laos. It was a beautiful piece of paper that meant absolutely nothing. The CIA decided that if they couldn't send the army, they would send shadows. They built a secret base called Long Tieng, a city that didn't appear on any map, a place so hidden it was known only as Skyline. I remember a boy named David, one of the first advisors sent into that jungle. He was 21, a kid from a small town in Texas who still had a photo of his high school sweetheart tucked into his boot. David was told to strip the labels off his clothing. He had to hand over his dog tags. He was given a civilian ID and told that he was now working for Air America. When David's plane was torn apart by anti-aircraft fire over the Plain of Jars, the government didn't send a letter of condolence to his mother. They told her he was missing in a training exercise in a country thousands of miles away. They buried David in a lie because his truth was an international embarrassment. Why did they do it? Because in the game of empires, a human life is just a trade-off for a strategic advantage. I filed David's real death certificate in a folder marked permanent retention, do not open, and I've had to live with that secret for 60 years. What follows is the part of history they tried to set on fire, the sheer soul-crushing weight of the bombing. From 1964 to 1973, the United States dropped more bombs on Laos than were dropped on Germany and Japan combined in all of World War II. Every 8 minutes, 24 hours a day, for 9 years, a plane load of explosives was dumped on a country of farmers and monks. We turned the Plain of Jars into a lunar landscape. We dropped cluster bombs, tiny orange spheres that looked like toys, knowing they wouldn't all explode on impact. To this day, Hmong children are losing their hands and their lives because they find those toys in the dirt. The government buried the cost of this campaign because they couldn't explain why we were spending billions to destroy a country we weren't in. It was a war of statistics, not souls. I saw the numbers climb, 10,000 dead, 20,000, 50,000, until they were just ink on a page that I was ordered to shred. We were fighting a ghost war, and when the ghosts started getting too loud, we just closed the basement door and turned up the music. The real betrayal, the one that keeps me awake at 99, happened in 1975, when the secret finally became too heavy to carry. When the United States pulled out of Southeast Asia, we didn't just leave equipment behind, we left an entire army of people who had bled for us. The Hmong tribesmen had rescued our downed pilots and protected our secret bases for a decade. They believed in the American promise. They thought the flag on our secret documents meant something. But when the evacuation planes arrived, there wasn't enough room for everyone. I saw the cables coming into the archive, panicked messages from CIA operatives begging for more flights, describing the North Vietnamese closing in on the families of our allies. I saw the reply from Washington, cease all operations, abandon the assets. We left them to be hunted like animals in the jungle. We used their loyalty as a shield and then threw that shield into the fire when it got too hot. Why? Because acknowledging the Hmong meant admitting we had broken the law for 10 years. To this day, there are veterans of that war living in Minnesota and California who can't get a single dime of support from the VA because their records don't exist. We stole their youth, we used their blood, and then we deleted their history with a single mouse click. I am telling you this because I see the same patterns repeating in 2026. I see a generation that trusts every digital headline, never realizing that the most important truths are the ones that never make it to a screen. You think a secret is a leak on a forum? A real secret is a generation of men whose graves have no names. A real secret is a mother who died never knowing that her son wasn't a training casualty, but a hero who died in a jungle he wasn't allowed to be in. My warning to you is simple. Never trust a system that values its brand more than its people. The moment you become a liability to the narrative, you become expendable. I've spent my life guarding these folders, and my hands are shaking as I speak, not from the cold of age, but from the weight of the 50,000 ghosts I've had to carry in my head. I can still smell the ozone and the burning paper of the day they told us to clean up the 1964 files. It smelled like a funeral for the truth. I want you to imagine, just for a second, standing on a dirt strip in the middle of the mountains. You're 19 years old, carrying a rifle with the serial numbers filed off, wearing a uniform with no insignia. You look at the boy next to you, the one who looks just like the kid in your high school yearbook, and you realize that if you die today, your parents will never get a flag, your name will never be on a wall, and your country will lie about your very existence. That is the reality of being expendable. That is the price of the secret war. We have turned sacrifice into a commodity that can be deleted when it's no longer convenient. History books lied to you because the truth is too ugly for a classroom. They want you to believe in the glory, but at 99, I am here to tell you about the grit. I am here to tell you about the boys who were sent on missions to nowhere and stayed there forever. The archives are full of black bars. Behind every redacted line is a life that mattered. Behind every classified stamp is a betrayal that was covered up to save a career. I've seen the faces behind those bars, faces like the ones in the montage you see on your screen. They were told they were the best of us, only to be treated like trash the moment the war ended. You live in a world of social media where everyone is performing for a camera, but the most significant things that ever happened in America happened when the cameras were forbidden. The real history of this country isn't in the speeches of the great men. It's in the silence of the basements. It's in the operations that were wiped from the ledger. Don't be the kind of person who just scrolls past. Be the person who asks why. Why was David's file burned? Why were the Hmong abandoned? Why is the secret war of 1964 still a whisper in the dark? I'm closing the folders for the last time today. My breath is getting short, and soon I'll be just another redacted line in the history of the world. But I am leaving you with the truth that I guarded for 5 decades. The secret war was real. The betrayal was absolute. The price of your Tuesday afternoon in 2026 was the blood of 50,000 boys who were told their names didn't matter. Don't let their sacrifice be in vain by being ungrateful or distracted. Respect the freedom you have, but never forget the dirty, secret, unrecorded work it took to buy it. You are walking on a floor built out of shadows. Be worthy of the light. Thank God for one more day. Now go make it count by demanding the truth, no matter how much it stings. Goodbye and keep the watch. The horizon is always closer than you think, and the truth is never as clear as they tell you it is. Be a seeker. Be a witness. Be alive. For the boys of 1964, for America, for the truth that can no longer be buried. I can still hear the sound of the ghost planes taking off into the mist. It's a lonely, hollow sound. It's the sound of a secret being kept at all costs. I hope you never have to hear it. I hope your life is more than a line item on a classified budget. I hope you have the courage to be yourself in a world that wants to turn you into a unit of production. Don't let them tell you that you don't matter. You are everything. And the boys who were deleted from history in 1964 were everything too. We just forgot to tell them before we burned their records. Don't make that mistake again. The secret war is over, but the war for the truth is just beginning. And you are the soldiers now. Stand your ground. Don't let them bury the history again. 99 years, and it feels like a single afternoon in that basement. Make your afternoon matter. Goodbye. I've had a lot of secrets pinned to my heart, but the only thing I'm taking with me into the dark is the memory of those who were labeled expendable. They were the real heroes. They were the ones who stayed in the jungle so you could live in the light. Don't waste the years they gave you. Don't spend them in anger or bitterness or mindless scrolling. Spend them in pursuit of what is real. That's how you honor the deleted. That's how you keep the promise. I'm 99 and I'm ready to rest. But I'm resting with the hope that you heard me. I'm resting with the hope that you'll wake up tomorrow and realize that the most dangerous war is the one you don't even know you're fighting. 99 years. Thank God for every second of it, especially the secret ones. They made me who I am. Goodbye.